in Korea. There's this rich student named Han Soo-kong who loves picking on other students. He and his friends bother students they think are weaker than them. What's weird is that even the school staff ignore Soo-kong's bad behavior because they don't want to upset his powerful family. As usual, Go Jin-hyung is one of the students who is constantly targeted for bullying by Soo-kong and his friends, and even this bullying is captured on video by a female student named Min-ji. Turning to So Si-min, the new intern teacher at the school. She's trying to fit in with her colleagues and do her job perfectly so she can become a permanent teacher. One day, while she's in the restroom, she overhears a chat between two teachers, Lee Jae-kyung and Hae-sun. They're talking about the teacher who used to sit at Si-min's desk. Si-min gets curious and searches for information about this teacher online. She's shocked to find out that the teacher did the unthinkable after being bullied by Mueong High School students. What's strange is that the other teachers think this kind of thing is normal at school. After Si-min leaves the restroom and walks down the hall, Jae-kyung suddenly asks her to come to a room. She wants to show Si-min the dark side of Mueong High School. Like a video of Soo-kong and his gang bullying an old kimbap seller. Luckily, Jin-hyung, who's the grandson of the elderly lady and a new student at the school, steps in to help. That's why Soo-kong targets Jin-hyung for bullying. Si-min can't believe what she's seeing, but Jae-kyung tells her to stay out of these problems, and Si-min agrees with her senior's advice. Later that night, Si-min is at a boxing gym, practicing her sports skills. Her friend, Lee Kwon-jong, a police officer, shows up for some boxing sparring. What's surprising is that Si-min is a boxing instructor at the gym. She used to be a talented athlete in judo and taekwondo too. People thought she'd win a gold medal in boxing one day, but she had to give up her dreams because her dad, So Young-taek, had a lot of debt, and she had to use her savings to save the gym. Thanks to her hard work for 10 years, the gym is still running. After training with Kwon-jong, Si-min notices a bunch of animal masks in her gym. She wonders who put them there. Kwon-jong thinks it might be her dad, who collected these masks from kids he used to play with. The next day, Si-min, who teaches at Mueong High School, tried to be friendly with everyone. She even looks the other way when she sees some boys smoking. She wants to impress the school and get a recommendation to become a permanent teacher. Meanwhile, Soo-kong and his gang decided to disable a security camera at the school so they could bother Jin-hyung once more. Si-min, who saw this happening, wanted to stop them. But then she remembered what Jae-kyung had told her the other day, so she decided to back off and stay out of it. However, as Soo-kong's behavior got worse, Si-min couldn't hold back her frustration and decided to warn Soo-kong. Just then, another student named Lee Byung-jin, who had been secretly watching the bullying, stepped in and told Si-min not to mess with Soo-kong. He explained that Soo-kong's dad was a chief prosecutor, his mom was a lawyer, and his uncle worked in the police bureau. This made it hard for Soo-kong to face any consequences for what he did. Si-min hesitated to help Jin-hyung after hearing this, but had another plan to save him. A little while later, Si-min pretended to be on a phone call and headed towards the hallway where Soo-kong was about to kick Jin-hyung. She was ready to step in and stop Soo-kong, even if it meant putting herself at risk. She told Jin-hyung to go back to class and apologize to Soo-kong, pretending she hadn't seen him before. Soo-kong was frustrated that his bullying plan had failed and wondered who Si-min was because he had never seen her at school. His friend Oh-min then told him that Si-min was a new teacher who replaced the teacher who had died after being bullied by Soo-kong. When Soo-kong heard this, he got really mad and warned Oh-min never to bring it up again. That night, Byung-jin, who did part-time work delivering chicken from a restaurant, was practicing boxing during his break with Young-taek. Young-taek had dropped by the restaurant, which was owned by his friend Soo Sang-wook, a former boxer like them. After their short training session, Young-taek shared a story about a talented young boxer he used to train. Unfortunately, the boxer's career was ruined because of his father's mistakes. On another day, Si-min met up with Jin-hyung at school to talk about the bullying he was going through. Jin-hyung confessed that he had tried reporting it to the school authorities, but the teachers didn't do anything because they were scared of punishing Soo-kong and his gang. When he went to the police, they said they needed evidence to prove that Soo-kong was the one responsible. Jin-hyung didn't want to switch schools. He just wanted Soo-kong to face the consequences of what he did. He asked for Si-min's help, which left her puzzled since she was just a new intern teacher at the school. Meanwhile, Soo-kong's parents, who often sent food to the teachers, made everyone turn a blind eye to Soo-kong's actions. It was tough for Si-min to speak up against the son of the school's main donor. That evening, Seamin was at home still worried about Jin Hyung. She suddenly remembered a memory when she lost in the women's boxing final. Young Taek scolded her, saying she should have easily won the match. He was disappointed and, in the heat of the moment, told her that she was no longer his daughter because his real daughter had died in the boxing ring. Back to the present. During the school break, Seamin met Sukong and his gang on the rooftop to ask them not to bother other students. But Sukong got mad and warned her not to get involved if she didn't want trouble at school. After Seamin came down from the rooftop, all the teachers received a news notification from the education committee. It was about a student at Mueyong High School, causing suffering for many students and teachers due to violence. This news shocked everyone. The school principal, Gyu-ho, was furious and wanted to know how the news got out. A bit later, Sukong's stepmom Eun-kyo came to the school, angry about the news. The principal and the teachers didn't dare to speak, so Seamin stepped up and admitted that she was the one who reported it to the education committee. When Eun-kyo hit Seamin on the head, Seamin chose to stay quiet. She realized she didn't have the strength to confront Sukong's family. In the principal's office, Sukong asked Gyu-ho what would happen to Seamin. But when Gyu-ho said he'd fire her, Sukong kicked the principal's leg and said he couldn't allow Seamin to be fired from the school. So, Gyu-ho, fearing for his position, agreed not to fire Seamin. Meanwhile, out on the street, Seamin was feeling frustrated about the bullying problems at her school. She decided to talk to Kwanjong about whether something could be done to punish Sukong. Kwanjong explained that it was a tricky situation, especially because there was no evidence to prove Sukong was the one behind the bullying. If Jin Hyung reported it without proof, he might end up getting arrested for making false accusations. Seamin felt even more frustrated hearing this. When she got to her apartment, she saw her dad, who was there to pick up some kids after their boxing practice. But she didn't seem happy to see him and just left without saying much, even though Young Taek tried to greet her. Later, while Seamin was in a convenience store getting some ramen, she got startled when Sukong's group showed up and started bothering her. They said she could never stand up to all of them. At that moment, Seamin remembered Jae Kyung's advice not to get involved with Sukong because she could end up in legal trouble, especially since Sukong's uncle could easily ruin her being just an intern teacher. On her way home, still thinking about the problem, Seamin accidentally bumped into a drunk man on the side of the road. The man got angry and started hitting Seamin's head. This made her mad, and she kicked the man until he passed out. She was determined to find a way to make things right for Sukong's unfair actions. As for Sukong, he and his group were playing basketball on a court when another player accidentally bumped into him. This made him furious, and they got into a fight with that player. Not far from the court, Seamin was watching the situation, planning to get back at Sukong for his unjust behavior. She put on a cat mask and attacked the troublemaker. On top of that, Byung-jin, who was delivering fried chicken nearby, secretly witnessed the fight. Suddenly, the police arrived and broke up the fight, causing Sukong and his friends to leave. The next day, Seamin was feeling happy after teaching Sukong a lesson the previous night. Meanwhile, news about Sukong getting beaten by a masked person had spread all over the school. Many teachers and students were thrilled with the brave cat-masked figure and considered them a hero. In class, Sukong was upset when he saw his desk covered in cat-mask drawings by other students. He even threw his desk away and didn't pay attention to the teacher. Eventually, Sukong decided to leave school with his friends. Still furious, Sukong drove his car at high speed on the road, scaring his friends. He reassured them that he could take his anger out on Jin Hyung. When they mentioned Jin Hyung's name, Sukong just smirked, showing he liked the idea. Back in her boxing gym, Seamin felt satisfied with how she had confronted Sukong while wearing a cat mask. Kwanjong, who knew that Seamin had fought her student while dressed as a cat, reminded her not to continue because there were other ways to seek justice. Meanwhile, in a building, Sukong and his gang made Jin Hyung take part in a cruel game. He had to walk down the stairs without his shirt and with a plastic bag over his head. When he reached the bottom floor, he ran to find safety and ended up at the fried chicken restaurant where Byung-jin worked. Sang-wook was shocked to see Jin Hyung's condition and immediately helped him. Byung-jin rushed off on his motorcycle to Seamin's gym to get help. Just as Seamin was about to get rid of her cat mask, Byung-jin arrived and told her about Jin Hyung being forced to go shirtless by Sukong and being at Sang-wook's restaurant. He also mentioned that he had called the police when he was at the basketball court and knew that Seamin was the one behind the cat mask. At Sang-wook's restaurant, Jin Hyung looked worn out from all the bullying, so he grabbed a knife and went outside to confront Soo-kong. Meanwhile, Soo-kong was happy to see that Min-ji had recorded Jin Hyung's struggle down the stairs. He contacted a friend to edit the video before uploading it online. Min-ji walked away, not liking Soo-kong's increasingly bad behavior. Shortly after that, Seamin arrived at the billiard hall wearing her cat mask, and a fight broke out between her and Soo-kong. They fought each other until suddenly Jin Hyung showed up with a knife in his hand. Seamin realized that Jin Hyung intended to harm Soo-kong and tried to stop him, even though she got injured in the process. Because she lost a lot of blood from the wound caused by Jin Hyung's knife, Seamin was in the hospital getting treatment. Young Taek was worried about his daughter, who had almost lost her life. When he saw her cat mask, he decided he wanted revenge against Soo-kong. He went straight to where Soo-kong and his gang were hanging out, wearing the cat mask, and challenged Soo-kong to a duel. Sometime later, Seamin, feeling like she had recovered, convinced Kwon-jong to let her leave the hospital. She wanted to protect Jin Hyung, who might be in more trouble. As she left the ward, she unexpectedly saw Young Taek sitting in a chair, beaten up after fighting with Soo-kong. This only fueled her anger toward the troublemaking student. At the hospital, Seamin also bumped into Jae-kyung, who was taking care of her younger sister. Seamin was surprised and tried to hide her real reason for being there. On their way back home, Young Taek tried to apologize to Seamin for his past mistakes. He talked about the time when she participated in the National Olympic Boxing Selection Final. Seamin seemed to be winning the match, but in the final seconds, she started holding back her attacks, allowing her opponent to knock her down. This had made Young Taek angry. Unexpectedly, before the match, Seamin met someone who offered her money to pay off Young Taek's debt, but on the condition that she had to lose in the final match. Young Taek had known about it and used to see her as a loser, but now he understood the sacrifice she had made, so he apologized to her. Seamin, sitting in the seat, stayed quiet, trying to hold back her tears upon hearing her father's apology. The next day, Soo-kong and Oh-min realized that the masked cat figure was from their school. They immediately started searching for clues about the person's identity by checking the arms of their fellow students to see if they had a cut on their left arm. Unfortunately, all the students they checked didn't have the cut until Soo-kong accidentally noticed Seamin, who had hurt her left arm after colliding with another student. Finally, he figured out that she was the masked cat figure he had been looking for. Later, Soo-kong bumped into Seamin in the teacher's room and deliberately grabbed her injured arm. He asked her why she saved him when Jin Hyung was trying to harm him. Seamin admitted that she did it to protect Jin Hyung from getting into trouble. Frustrated, Soo-kong initially tried to suffocate her by covering her head with plastic, but he changed his mind when he saw a flyer about a boxing match at the school festival. He decided to challenge her in the ring and show everyone in front of the students and teachers. Seamin agreed because Soo-kong threatened to give the police the video of Jin Hyung's attempted harm to her if she refused the challenge. On another occasion, Jin Hyung was on the rooftop and seemed like he was about to do the unthinkable. Thankfully, Seamin arrived and talked him out of it. She reminded him of his grandmother, who cared deeply for him and asked him to hold on. After hearing Seamin's words, Jin Hyung let go of his dark thoughts, and Seamin immediately hugged him, comforting him as he cried. A few days later, news about the match between Soo-kong and Seamin had spread. On the day of the match, Byung-jin excitedly handed out cat masks to all the students to support Seamin. When the match started, Soo-kong used all his self-defense skills to dominate Seamin, even causing her hair to come loose during the fight. The audience was shocked when they realized that the person behind the cat mask was a woman. But Soo-kong didn't let up, and just when Seamin was about to be declared defeated, she turned the tables. She took off her mask, surprising everyone once again that Seamin was the masked fighter. Then she secured her victory by kicking Soo-kong out of the ring, making him kneel in front of Jin Hyung. She asked Soo-kong to apologize to Jin Hyung, but he stubbornly refused. In the end, Seamin and Jin Hyung report Soo-kong as the bully to the police station. Not long after, Min-ji arrives to provide evidence of Soo-kong's violence at the school. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and click on the bell icon so you don't miss any updates and videos in the future.